Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Alison, the online piano and the online violin tutor. So today is another subscriber Sunday and we have a piano video to look at. So the video that we're going to be watching today was sent from a friend of mine who his friend's son is actually playing in the video. I'm not sure how old the little boy is, but I don't know, maybe 6, 7, 8 years old, something like that. But it's a young boy anyway, needless to say. So even though it is a younger student playing, there were a couple of things that I just wanted to mention in the video, because these are things that I see across the board with everybody in all the years that I've been teaching. So it's not necessarily children, it happens with adults as well. So let's watch the video and then we'll come back and go over a few things. Okay, so besides the one or two little hiccups that he had while playing the piece of music and a couple of bum notes here and there, I'm not so worried about that, because that'll line itself out with practice. What I am looking at though is technique, and the technique that he needs to improve whilst moving forward. Now the first thing that I want to talk about is how flat his hands are on the piano. And this kind of, the rest of the problems or the rest of the issues that I'm going to be talking about all stem from having flat hands on the piano. And I know his hands are small because he is a child, but that still doesn't make any difference to me because he still has flat hands. If he were to curve his fingers and lift his wrist up a little bit over the piano keys, the rest of the issues that he is having will immediately go away, or most of them will go away or will be improved just by doing that. So you'll kind of notice that his rhythm is a little bit off, and that's kind of expected as almost a child. I do see that a lot with adults as well, but mostly with younger children, just because their dexterity isn't quite as developed as an adult. But again, having a better posture with your wrist and your fingers on the piano will go a long way into helping that. But I'll talk more about that in just a second. So some of the notes were a little bit juttery, and some of that was just because he just needed to be a little bit more familiar with the music, but most of that was because of the poor finger positioning. So the first thing he needs to do is to lift up his wrist. Everything was very flat. The fingers were just very flat on the piano. Everything needs to be curved, arm needs to be up, so the piano would be here and you would be playing like this, where he's pretty much sort of playing like this. Everything, all this area here is completely flat, but it all needs to be lifted up. So it's almost like you need to be playing on the tippy tips of your fingers pretty much. I know when I play the piano and I watch myself back in videos, I suppose I do look quite flat-handed. A lot of people have their arm up quite a lot and they're sort of like this. I'm not so much like that, but I do have quite a good curve in my fingers. So I might not have my wrist up very high. My wrist is lower, but I do have a long curve in my fingers, and that's just because I have quite long fingers and kind of quite long hands, so I guess I can kind of get away with that. But with him, he's not doing any of those things. Everything is really flat, and the fingers are flat, and all the wrist is down, and everything is just generally flat, which you don't want. So you either want to lift the wrist up. So can you see how everything is flat? So my hand is like the surface of the piano. Everything is flat. So first thing you need to do is lift the wrist up so that the wrist and the elbow are in line, basically so that your hand is over like this, and that's going to give you a curve in the fingers. If you don't feel comfortable enough kind of lifting this wrist up too much, whatever you do, you need to have a good curve. See, for me, I guess from my knuckles to my wrist is pretty flat, but you can see that I've got this curve going on here. So I'm not flat, I do have a curve from my knuckles to my fingers. My fingers have sort of a nice arch going on here. So either which way for you, that's what you need to do. If everything is flat, you don't have the dexterity to be able to move because your fingers are going to trip up over each other. If everything is round, Everything's going to be able to smoothly tuck under, cross over, and do all of that kind of good stuff, which is what's happening with the video. He's kind of coming unstuck a little bit, not necessarily because he's a little bit unfamiliar with the music and can't quite remember what's coming next, or his fingers are just getting in a muddle, but because his fingers are literally tripping up over each other, because his hand isn't placed well enough for his fingers to be able to move with that ease and flexibility. The other thing that he was doing as well is just hitting a couple of notes that shouldn't be there. And I know a lot of the notes he was playing were seconds, and that is part of the piece. Like he was playing a C and a D together. That is part of the piece that he's playing. I know the piece that he's playing, but there was just a little bit towards the end where he's physically hitting other notes. And again, that's mostly down to the fact that everything was too flat. If everything's so flat, then you just don't have the dexterity to move your fingers willingly enough to not hit any of the other notes. So as you can see, a lot of the problems were just stemming from the hand position. Change the hand position, that pretty much changes everything. So there we go. I just wanted this to be just a really, really quick video on that one, because it's a problem that I see in a lot of beginner piano players. So hopefully this will help you to readjust the positioning of your hand, learn to play more with a metronome, whatever instrument you're doing, to get better rhythm and also hand posture on the piano. So thank you very much for watching. If you have a problem on either the piano or the violin that you want me to address, then I will leave details underneath this video of how you can contact me and send me in your video, and I'll have a look at the video and hopefully we can feature you on my channel. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in next week's Subscriber Sunday. Bye.